Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Enrichment Hour with your host, Mike Schwager. Now here's Mike Schwager.
And it's Thursday, December 7th, 2017, and my next guest on the Enrichment Hour on the world's largest internet radio network, WSRadio.com, is Dr. Shuvendu Sen MD, renowned holistic physician, author, speaker, and humanitarian. We will be discussing Dr. Sen's new book, Why Buddha Never Had Alzheimer's, subtitled A Holistic Treatment Approach Through Meditation, Yoga, and the Arts. And the key question is, do ancient practices hold the key to a modern epidemic? First, a little biographical information on Dr. Sen. Dr. Shuvendu Sen MD is Director of Medical Education and Associate Program Director of Internal Medicine Residency Program at Raritan Bay Medical Center, Meridian Hackensack University. Dr. Sen has been named to America's Best Physicians and has received the Oscar E. Edwards Award from the American College of Physicians, as well as many national and regional awards for research, teaching, and community contribution. Thrice nominated for the Pushcart Prize for both fiction and nonfiction works, Dr. Sen is the author of the critically acclaimed book for lay audiences, A Doctor's Diary, that was selected at the 2016 World Book Fair. He serves and had been involved in advisory capacities in many leadership communities, including the American College of Physicians, the Alzheimer's Association, and Rotary International. I should also say that Why Buddha Never Had Alzheimer's, Dr. Sen's current book, is published by Health Communications, Inc., a very fine publishing house. Dr. Sen, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Well, Dr. Sen, welcome to the Enrichment Hour. It's a great pleasure to have you. And I want you to know, when I first looked at the title of this book, my curiosity was not yet aroused. But when I went into the book, wow, Dr. Sen, you have some book here. This is really a fantastic book.
Okay.
Let me ask you, sir,
sure.
How is your initial health healing orientation coming from the Eastern world before you came to the States and learned modern Western medicine?
Yes, it is. Even I guess before I became a doctor, I was introduced to certain healing methods where not just the signs and the symptoms, but the whole individual and the soul was taken into consideration. When I come from a place in the world where meditation is taught in schools, is fostered in scholarly circles, and discussed, and as I sometimes jokingly say, even the communists in a country, they meditate by default. So we meditate, and there's a tremendous amount of tranquility and serenity that comes with it. So yes, I got introduced to the word well-being, introduced to the word healing, even before I got introduced into words like management and treatment.
Fascinating. Well, I'm just reading now from the back of your book, Doctor. An estimated 5.4 million people in the United States are afflicted with Alzheimer's disease, devastating not only individuals but also their families. Despite relentless pharmaceutical drug trials and research, Alzheimer's continues at a furious and unpredictable pace. Scientists have yet to firmly comprehend the intricacies of a disease that remains elusive when it comes to its causes and treatments. And in your book, you examine the many facets of this complex issue and offer an effective treatment approach from the ancient world that has the potential to stop or even reverse this impending healthcare crisis of the modern world. Doctor, can you give us a couple of case stories of how you illustrate the impact of Eastern medicine with the Western in regards to Alzheimer's?
Right. I mean, there are a lot of them.
Yes.
The one that
maybe we could just start with one or two. Go ahead.
Close my eyes and pick one. I had this, gentleman who was a good friend of mine, senior to me, again a scholar, and he was with books. He loved philosophy, he loved music, classical music, and then he kind of realized that he was not good with the words, and this is what happened, and I'll get back to this example. The presentation of this disease is extremely varied and very unlike other types of diseases. For example, if it's depression, you know what happens. If it is bipolarity, we have a certain set of manifestations. Schizophrenia, it's a certain sense of certain type of manifestations. In Alzheimer's, the presentation can be various. I mean, it is not just about, I don't know where my bathroom is, or I don't know where I keep my shoes. For this particular gentleman, it was all about not finding the right words. And so the same person who used to articulate very clearly that I would like to have an omelet and a toast and an orange juice for my breakfast,
right,
he realized that he was not getting those detailed words, and he would just simply say, I would like to have my breakfast. Now, that's a perfectly legitimate word. So that would escape the attention of the family. Family members would just think that he's getting a little introspective and within himself, and they would let it pass. But that's the beginning of one of the presentations of Alzheimer's. And he realized that he was spending more time trying to come up with a word. And then
right,
that progressed to a stage where would fail to remember some of the favorite facts and figures and some emotional memory that was always with him. Now, he being very educated, he knew that drugs are not going to help. So he was having a discussion with me, and then when he was relating to me that this was now beginning to be a source of anxiety and stress, which he very intelligently understood was actually making things worse for him. And so he was asking for some, guidance if I was aware of. And of course,
yes,
I wasn't aware of any guidance because there aren't any drugs in the horizon. So that's when I kind of introduced meditation to him, and I kind of told him that, this is something which is very user-friendly. It doesn't have any adverse effect. It's not very complicated. It's not just you have to sit in a lotus position, Buddha style, and, you can be seated in a very comfortable chair so long as there is no obvious distractions and you've got this silence. And just there are a couple of types of meditation. I just, taught him one type that I was taught when I was in school. And then I said, just give it a shot and no anxiety, kind of ease into it and just let me know how things go. And I kind of told him, do not expect a result tomorrow because, these things will take time. It needs a little bit of, discipline. And sure enough, either through the lessening of the stress or the anxiety, he started to be in control of his emotions, control of the things that were bothering him. And lo and behold, he was remembering things better. He was finding the words. He was getting sharper. And obviously, when he came to me, he was not in an advanced stage of Alzheimer's. He was in the beginning of the disease. And again, as I said in the book, 20 years later, when I called him from New York, and I joked with him, he said, "What's for breakfast?" And he immediately replied, "I'm having oatmeal." So this is one of the wonderful examples I have of someone who's kind of, gotten back to the baseline that he had through this very simple embrace of this ancient practice.
Wonderful, wonderful, Doctor. Doctor, in the pre-interview we had, I mentioned to you that I've been practicing transcendental meditation, TM, which was given to me by the late, great Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Very, very simple technique, One simply closes the eyes, and you are given a mantra, and you just repeat the mantra over and over until it disappears, and then you bring it back, and you just do this for 15, 20 minutes and wait a minute or two, and then you're done. In the case of that particular gentleman that you helped, Doctor, was it a similar kind of meditation technique, or was it something different?
No, it was. I did because he the good thing for me, the easier part for me was that he had read it up by himself. So he kind of was very knowledgeable on the different types, and I kind of opened up to him that, you can either do the mindfulness type, where you just sit there and, just what we call as a non-judgmental awareness.
Yeah.
And that sometimes it takes time to be, have that non-judgmental awareness, or you can make it very simple. You pick up a mantra, you pick up a word, and you just chant, and let the chant take care of yourself. And, and that way, the distractions are, kept away. And it's amazing. The results are amazing, so profound. And again, again and again, there's no adverse effect.
Wow. I mean, this is really incredible. Doctor, stand by. We're going to go into a very brief commercial break, and I can hardly wait to pick it up where we left off. This is Mike Schwager on the Enrichment Hour on WSRadio.com, and we're talking to Dr. Shuvendu Sen MD. Fabulous book. Fabulous book.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. Vin Village connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. Vin Village is where wine lovers connect.
You may have heard me brag about Progressive Medical Center and just how much they've helped me with my health. And Dr. Goli, one thing that you've helped so many people with is migraines.
Unfortunately, there are millions and millions of Americans who are suffering with migraines and headaches, and they're debilitating because it affects the quality of their life, and they cannot function properly. At Progressive, we get the root cause because we understand that migraines could be caused by nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, believe it or not, delayed food sensitivities. And once we determine what the real reason is, we put a plan of action together with medication that we get them off slowly, and we put them on an all-natural approach, and the results are amazing.
Incredible. I mean, there's so many people that can say they don't live their lives with migraines anymore thanks to Progressive Medical Center.
And that's what's exciting and rewarding to us as physicians, because we help our patients take control of their health, and that's why they're living well.
Why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today? Don't live in pain. Don't have migraines anymore. Just go to their website, progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life. Live it well.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Gotham Books presents Marriage Rules by Harriet Lerner. The book Martha Beck calls required reading for anyone hoping to interact successfully with any other human, not just for those in romantic relationships. Get your copy wherever books and ebooks are sold, and visit harrietlerner.com to learn how to change your marriage today.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Enrichment Hour with your host, Mike Schwager. Now here's Mike Schwager.
And we're back in a fascinating conversation with Dr. Shuvendu Sen, MD, author of the book, Why Buddha Never Had Alzheimer's. The subtitle is A Holistic Treatment Approach Through Meditation, Yoga, and the Arts. Doctor, this is really wonderful stuff, and having gone to, I don't know how many conventional medical doctors in my life, none of whom had any holistic orientation or any alternative medical advice. This is such a pleasure to hear you talk about what you're talking about in the case of Alzheimer's, but I want to ask you,
Sure.
Are you having an impact with your colleagues at the hospital and those who are not alternative or holistically bent, Doctor?
Great question. So here is a sweet challenge that I'm facing. So I took a very informal survey of my colleagues, both in my hospital and elsewhere, and I would ask them that whether they're or how much they are aware of the tremendous benefits that these ancient practices offer in terms of various types of meditation, yoga, etc. And very interestingly, a large part of them, they are aware. They are also aware that there's evidence-based, that some of the big institutions like Harvard Medical Center, Johns Hopkins, UCLA, Oxford, and a lot in Germany, they're doing a tremendous amount of work in terms of kind of putting meditation under the microscope and literally trying to find out how much benefit it does. But when I followed that up with my next question as to whether you implement them, and I would say about 99% of them were honest enough to say, no, we don't. So this is a very interesting mindset issue where we have this understanding, the comprehension of the fact that, yes, this is something which is very good for healing purposes and just doesn't take care of the signs and symptoms. But at the same time, when it comes to that, making that transition to stay away from prescribing Xanax for anxiety and stress to offering mindfulness or transcendental meditation, there is that reluctance, very exotic kind of a reluctance. But having said that, in my own institution, in Hackensack, we are actually in the process of starting meditation to decrease the stress level for high reliability training, as the program calls it. And meditation is actually becoming a very important service that we are offering. I'm not in charge, but I'm one of them who is spreading the word around. So yes, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We are probably getting an understanding of its inevitable necessity, but we have a long way to go.
You're speaking to somebody whose bread and butter has been in public relations, Doctor, in communications and media relations. And I like to represent clients these days who are making a true difference in the world on the humane side, on the holistic side. But I want to ask you, are there plans for you to be speaking, perhaps, this is just a creative thought, Doctor, at medical schools with your book, the centerpiece of your conversation to the students?
Yes, there are certain plans in the pipeline. They are not coming that easily, but yes, I have reached out to various centers where I have, given the offer by myself that should the call come, I will be very happy to not only just discuss my book, but also to highlight the absolute necessity of these healing processes to take the center stage. And I'm not saying that right? I'm not saying that you have to get rid of prescriptions all the while, but I think they should be more than complementary. They should take the
integrated, right?
And integrate.
Yeah. Tell me, doctor. So, with respect to reaching out to the medical community, had you or one of your colleagues thought of an article for a major medical journal on your with your book as the centerpiece?
Well, not as yet. I do know that my one particular journal, Wellbeing Journal, that was interested, but then Wellbeing Journal, they do have a very holistic approach to begin with. So I wasn't surprised that they picked my book, and they actually sought permission from my publisher to print some excerpts.
I mean, I just think that if you had a major article in one of the major medical journals, that would have potentially enormous impact and generate, in turn, a lot of additional credible publicity. You know what I'm saying?
I truly believe.
And, Doctor, I didn't plan to bring this up, but a past client of mine, his name is Dr. Clancy McKenzie. He's an MD. Have you heard of Clancy?
I apologize, but I haven't.
That's okay. So listen, he is a psychiatrist, okay? He's an MD. He is highly respected in his field. He wrote a book called Babies Need Mothers. And he disagrees with the pharmaceutical approach to schizophrenia, particularly noting that much schizophrenia occurs in the womb. The genesis of it is in the womb or in early childhood, where some dysfunctionality with respect to the mother is preventing the baby from receiving, for want of a better word, the proper love. And what occurs in that case of dysfunctionality, that baby, when he or she becomes an adolescent, could develop symptoms of schizophrenia. And the treatment is not pharmaceutical. The treatment is behavioral. And guess what? It works. So, I mean, I'm simplifying something that is much more elaborate, but I don't think Clancy is listening to this interview, but I will say that he cannot get published in a medical journal with his very, very finely developed studies. And I think that the issue is that pharmaceutical companies support a lot of medical journals. So I'm not bringing this up to embarrass you in any way, but is this a problem, the intervention of the influence of pharmaceutical industry on findings, medical scientific findings that may not be strictly pharmaceutical-based? Is that a fair question?
And I think it's a very fair question, and I'm very happy. It's a very brave question. And I think we need to handle this with proper attention. I mean, this is coming from someone who I practice mainstream medicine, if I can use the word, in other terms that, in other words, like I prescribe. I use prescriptions.
Right.
But this tremendous dependence, this tremendous bias on pharmaceutical company is I think it is almost dangerous. And I have spoken with my patients who would come to me completely stressed out, and they would come with a prior knowledge, and they're requesting me straight away, within 2 minutes of their discussion with me, Dr. Sen, I need a prescription of Xanax. And I will explain to them that, listen, I come from the same brand of medicine that you're asking for, but here is the problem.
Right.
Xanax, I can start with 0.5 milligrams. You're going to feel very well. A month down the road, I can guarantee you, you're going to lose that edge. You're going to come back to me, and you would need 1 milligram.
Yes.
The following 2 months later, you will need 2.5. So there are two main problems with drugs. One, tolerance, and number two, adverse effects. And, and before you know, you're dealing with the adverse effects of this drug with another set of drugs. And, and there you go. You're in a vicious cycle. compare this with these deep practices of medicine, and we use the word ancient, and I've used the word ancient too, but this is so modern. And I was talking with Dr. John Denninger. He's the chief of the Mind-Body Institute at Harvard University. And he was agreeing, because he's so much a part of this, that there are so many diseases that are being cured without writing a single prescription, just by adopting those practices.
Isn't that something?
So we need to go back to where we started from. We don't talk much with your patients. We are controlled by pharmaceutical companies. We give those drugs, and we have lost that. There was a time when we started with the primordial organs, like our eyes, our ears, with the hands on the pulse. We don't do that anymore. There's no time because I have this drug to give. So I think our medicine is completely going in the opposite direction. But again, as I say, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There are physicians, strong institutions who are seeing the potential and the promise that these practices hold. And I think we are slowly but steadily, we are probably changing the course.
Let me just say, Doctor, our segment is running out. We're about to go into commercial, but we need people like you to stand up for the right, for the truth. And
for the truth.
We're talking to Dr. Shuvendu Sen MD, author of Why Buddha Never Had Alzheimer's. Wonderful conversation. Really great man. And this is Mike Schwager on the Enrichment Hour on WS Radio. And we'll be right back.
Thank you. By listening, you help prove that content marketing works. You need to engage your customers. We provide the solution. Contact Wade at WSRadio.com or call 866-WS-RADIO.
Hi, I'm Paul Downey, president of Senior Community Centers. Far too many seniors in San Diego go hungry each day. 2 in 5 don't have enough money for the basics. Senior Community Centers is the safety net, keeping seniors healthy and independent. But we can't do it without you. Please make a generous donation to our Fill a Plate campaign. Our goal is simple. Fill the plates of 100,000 seniors with nutritious meals. Make a gift at servingseniors.org or call 619-487-0720.
Can you imagine a world without children? A world without their smiles or their laughter? A world where children don't play or sing or dream or imagine?
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we can't imagine a world without children. That's why we're working every day to find cures for diseases that strike down children everywhere. Diseases like cancer, pediatric AIDS, and sickle cell. And we won't stop until every child is cured and every disease is defeated. Because we can't imagine a world without children. Can you?
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. To learn how you can help, log on to our website, stjude.org.
Imagine putting your business in front of 3,000 to 4,000 people every single month. Have you ever thought of advertising on the Cash Flow Show, Direct Sales Radio? Successful direct sellers use every marketing opportunity available to them. Send me, Deb, an email at deb@debbixler.com to learn more about getting your products, opportunity, or services in front of over 3,000 ideal customers every month on the Cash Flow Show, Direct Sales Radio.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
You take your smartphone almost everywhere you go. Now WSRadio.com can be there too. Search WS Radio in the Play Store for your Android devices or iTunes for Apple and download the WS Radio application. WSRadio.com on your phone and in your ear everywhere you go. Download the WS Radio application. Do it now. It's very easy. WSRadio.com.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Enrichment Hour with your host, Mike Schwager. Now here's Mike Schwager.
And we're in a really fascinating conversation with Dr. Shuvendu Sen MD, author of a book that I highly recommend, really, for you to go out to Amazon or to your bookstore and buy it. Why Buddha Never Had Alzheimer's. The subtitle, A Holistic Treatment Approach Through Meditation, Yoga, and the Arts. And Dr. Sen, I want to read a couple of paragraphs from your book.
Sure.
On the section that's entitled Medicine and Spirituality, the Missing Link. I get a little emotional when I read this because I so much believe this is right. I have always believed that science has an opportunity to expand beyond its current boundaries if it embraces the eclectic ideas of spirituality. The individualistic aptitude of science pursuing the rationality of solitary parts of our system, be it our body or the universe, would stand in brighter light if wedded with the holistic approach of examining the entirety of those very parts. I am aware that I am treading into a battle-scarred field that has long cradled this endless feud between the upholders of objectivism and believers in subjectivism, each of whom have called the other counterproductive. Call it what you may, at the end of the day, this seeker versus pursuer conflict is still striving for one universal verdict, the truth. Boy, Dr. Sen, have you hit the mark, in my opinion. You have really hit the mark. This is profound. And this is the quest, is it not? For the two to come together. Yes. You want to elaborate a little more, Doctor?
I have always been, in my own personal experience, that when I reach out to my patients, both with my prescription as also with my primordial organs, there is an immediate effect. I mean, I would advise my residents when I train them that you start the healing process from the moment you set your eyes on your patient. Don't start by saying, yes, how old are you? Why don't we turn around and say, how young are you? You are planting youth. You are planting optimism and hope in the very first second when you see the patient. So for me, treating of the signs and symptom is only one part of the whole healing process. Reaching out to that individual behind those episodes of suffering is where these practices come from. And I think both us when we suffer and us when we cure, we all should be masters of these practices. To be healed as also to heal. And that way I have touched hearts and I have been touched in return.
Yes. Well, your voice is very, very important, Doctor. Very, very important. I think, from what I'm hearing and what I have read with your book, this is the voice in the medical context of the age, and must be heard and embraced, God willing. Doctor, I want to ask you, I am picking up, since I am in the field of communications and I have my radio show, but I am also in touch with many segments of our society. The country seems to be depressed. I mean, maybe that's a generalization that's a little too general, but do you concur that there is some sense of depression within the country right now?
I do. And not just in this country, I would say, globally, there is a sense of insecurity. There is a sense of, is used the word depression, because we are probably, in our pursuit of success, we are probably not seeking the light. There is so much more than what we see. There is a vision that we miss out. And we suffer because of that. And some of our, this whole thing about instant gratification, this is so against our quest for truth. And yes, I do see this profound effect of depression that is not just with my patients. I see with us in the medical fraternity when we have discussions among ourselves. It is amazing how we doctors discuss among ourselves and we say, you know what is the end? Where is the end? Where are we striving? What are we striving for? We just don't know.
Right. And I think now this is me speaking. I'm not asking for your opinion unless you want to throw in your view on this. But I think a part of the problem is our leadership, and it's causing damage. Let me just leave that there. But I wanted to ask you, for depression, aside from the obvious, you talked about Xanax, et cetera, what are some of the alternative methodologies that you recommend to ease depression?
I have been a big follower of meditation and music. And I have, while I am dealing with a patient who is depressed and has been to a psychiatrist and has been responding to the medication. And, of course, when I talk to them, when they come back to me as their family physician, and I can see that although their obvious signs and symptoms have been taken care of, there is that element of, zero gravity, where they are floating, where they don't know where they are. The sense of identity is seriously questioned. Although, again, the drugs, they have been doing their work in their small, limited way, where they are not contemplating suicide, where they are not, completely bedridden. They have been able to have that energy. They have been moving around. But a couple of questions down the road, and I know that they have reached that stage where they really don't know where to go, that complete loss of identity. That's when I say this is your ideal opportunity. Pick up a comfortable corner. If you're not receptive to silence, you're receptive to music. And listen to music, or listen to this wonderful music of silence if you can, and just try an inward journey. We are so much in a rush to run that we forget that there is an inward journey that we have, and I have seen those who have, and I would tell them that this is not going to happen overnight, but this is infectious. You will get so hooked onto it. This is such a wonderful addiction. This addiction of, this journey towards yourself, that you just might switch and you just might say, you know what, Dr. Sen, this is my medication and not the other drug with its side effects. And I have had wonderful results with my patients.
For me, meditation is definitely part of my regimen. I also believe in the use of affirmations, especially before going to bed to sleep, so as to put positive affirmations into one's subconscious just prior to sleep. I have found that doing that consecutively, as a routine, a pattern, does help. I noticed that an issue I was dealing with, and I did affirmations just before bedtime. About a week later, my attitude expanded on it. My perspective expanded on it. I became less depressed about it. I would think that you're in favor of that type of exercise as well, huh?
Yes, completely. And it's these positive affirmations that I tell not just my patients, to when I'm in discussion with everyone, that stress itself is very neutral. It's the way you circumvent stress or you just go through stress. And it's our emotions towards stress that makes the difference. That itself is neutral. Some of us, we buckle under pressure. And some of us, we just go through it. And This is exactly, what you just said, positive affirmation.
And I will tell you, Doctor, that right now in the background I'm playing Bach, and it's much better than Fox News. Trust me.
It is. It is much better than Fox News. It's more profound, so much less disturbing, and
well, it lifts the spirit. For me at least, it lifts the spirit.
It goes to the innermost faculties of your mind.
Absolutely.
Sure, it does.
We only have a few seconds left before we go into our fourth segment and final segment. The time is going very fast. Any last? How do people reach you if they need to reach you, Doctor?
Well, I do have a website. It's my first and last name.com. And I haven't given my email out, but, my website is one way of reaching me.
So your the website would be ShuvenduSen.com?
Yes.
And Shuvendu Sen would be one word?
That would be one.
That would
my
be
first and last name with no gap in between.
And your first name is spelled Shuvendu, last name Sen, so that's Shuvendu Sen, one word, .com, yes?
Yes.
Terrific. So, Doctor, we're going to say a quick goodbye, but we'll be back momentarily with Dr. Shuvendu Sen, MD, and the book is wonderful, and I recommend it highly, Why Buddha Never Had Alzheimer's. This is Mike Schwager on the Enrichment Channel on WSRadio.com. Be right back.
Thank you. By listening, you help prove that content marketing works. You need to engage your customers. We provide the solution. Contact Wade at WSRadio.com or call 866-WS-RADIO.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect.
I've been bragging about Progressive Medical Center to you guys for years, and I'm so excited to have Dr. Agoli with us because, Dr. Agoli, a lot of people walk through your doors, and some of their biggest problems are they're just fatigued, they're tired all the time, and even though they're dieting and exercising, they cannot get the weight off. Why is that?
It's a combination of poor metabolism, inappropriate eating, but more importantly, it's due to a lack of education and really doing the right testing. A lot of our patients are metabolically compromised. What does that mean? Their metabolism is not functioning. The metabolism is responsible for all physical and chemical processes necessary to sustain life, and that includes energy. And without cellular energy, your body is not going to be a burning machine. Let's get back and teach our listeners to be a fat-burning machine.
It's been a lot easier to maintain my weight since Progressive Medical Center started treating me with all-natural supplements, learning proper nutrition, and that can be you today. No more frustrations about being tired or overweight. So why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today through ProgressiveMedicalCenter.com.
This is your life, live it well.
Gotham Books presents Marriage Rules by Harriet Lerner. The book Martha Beck calls required reading for anyone hoping to interact successfully with any other human, not just for those in romantic relationships. Get your copy wherever books and ebooks are sold, and visit harrietlerner.com to learn how to change your marriage today.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
In the military, things can change in an instant. Your personal life is just the same. Just like you protect our country, you want your family protected. That's why thousands of military members trust Navy Mutual Life Insurance. Navy Mutual is nonprofit, providing current and former Navy, Marine, and Coast Guard families with life insurance, no sales fees, and no military service restrictions. Protecting members on active duty and beyond. Call 1-800-628-6011, 800-628-6011, NavyMutual.org, insuring those who serve.
Talk to me. Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
Welcome to the Enrichment Hour with your host, Mike Schwager. Now here's Mike Schwager.
And can you believe it? We are now in our fourth and final segment with Dr. Shuvendu Sen MD. Doctor, you're really a breath of fresh air, in my opinion. I hope our listeners agree with that, and those who haven't listened to this interview yet, but this interview will be archived on WS Radio's Enrichment Hour page. They can listen to you anytime. Will agree with me that you are really a breath of fresh air. The title of the book is Why Buddha Never Had Alzheimer's, and the subtext is A Holistic Treatment Approach Through Meditation, Yoga, and the Arts. I would like to touch on a few areas that you indicate are we talked briefly about music therapy. What is virtual reality and the benefits of it?
Right. So this is something which is kind of coming up. It's being entertained. I'll give one example of how we started to seriously consider virtual reality. And it's a personal example, and I have that incident in my book. And I had the permission of this gentleman to talk about his story.
Yes.
As of always, he visited his mother on her birthdays, and so he visited his mother, and on that same birthday, on that particular day, nothing was different. I mean, she had the same nonchalant expression. She did not recognize her son. But on that particular evening, she just, while they were interacting, and it was very one-sided, she happened to look on her side. And on the side was this mirror. And in the mirror, she spotted the image of her son. And she suddenly recognized her son and said, "Hi, Jonathan." And immediately Jonathan turned the face of her mother and said, "Mom, you recognized me after all these years?" But when she looked at him, the same nonchalant, deadpan expression came. So here is that realization that because of some network in our brain, when we look into something which is not real, but is virtually real, be it a reflection or an image, the brain recognizes, as opposed to when you're looking at dark reality. So
yes,
we call it a simulated kind of an environment. And then again, research proved that, when individuals had, when they were placed, those who are deep into Alzheimer's, when they were placed in a room, in a nursing home, and that particular room was made to look like his or her bedroom that was there once upon a time, there were better recollection. And so that was the start of virtual reality, where you try to create that familiarity. You try to simulate and somehow that recollects. Now, are we saying that virtual reality is the cure of Alzheimer's? Certainly not. But they are measures that can be used to attempt to revoke the memory. Now, this becomes very important in the light of the fact that when it comes to medications, and again, controlled by pharmaceutical companies, we are literally scratching the surface. Now, we are scratching the surface because, I say, as I always say, we do not even have, we are dealing with the mind, which is much more than a brain. And unless we have a full understanding of how we remember, we cannot have an understanding of how we forget. So, again, unlike the other cognitive disorders, like we talked about depression and schizophrenia, they have a way of presentation. In Alzheimer's, it is a huge package. It could come with, as I said, difficulty in finding the right words. It could come with, I not recognizing you. It could come with the simple thing is, I don't know where my bathroom is. It could come with a sleep disturbance. It could come with mood disorder.
Yes.
To think of a one-line prescription drug to take care of all this repertoire is being very short-sighted.
Of course.
So that's why we are leaning towards this holistic principles of virtual reality,
Yes.
of the effects of music, and of course, the ones that we were talking about
yes.
in meditation.
I just want to share a very short story, even though we don't have a lot of time left, Doctor. My mom passed away a few years ago. I was very close to her. I had been living in New York. She and my dad lived down here in South Florida. And I received a call from her oncologist to say that she had very severe cancer, a very aggressive tumor in her left breast, and she didn't have much time left. She had maybe 3 months left, even with chemo and radiation, et cetera. And I didn't want to accept that, doctor. So I went outside the medical field, and I found out about a remedy from China called Helan, Haelan, which is a fermented soy beverage that boosts the immune system by up to 600%. I checked it out with many people whose lives were saved with the Helan, and I decided to put my mom on it. And guess what? She lived for another 15 years, and she didn't die from cancer, okay? She just, her heart gave out. The oncologist was in a state of shock. He couldn't believe it. I said to him, why don't you look outside the field? He said, Michael, if it's not FDA approved, I can't go there. So I said, but do you realize how many patients are dying without alternative advice? So this is a problem, is it not, doctor? This is a problem.
It is a problem. This is the mindset. This is I get so claustrophobic, if I can use the word. And I keep asking this fundamental question. Why is meta-science not science? Why is metaphysics not physics? Why do we call anything outside our dogmatic scientific principles as scientific and the rest is not scientific?
Right.
So I completely agree.
And the other thing, with respect to my mom, is that I had visited nursing homes. I had seen how disconnected and depressed most patients are, and I just would not put her into a nursing home. I would not. She thanked me, to the roots of heaven for having been there for her as she stayed in her own home, and she passed away in her own home. That was her wish, and she would have died much earlier had she been in a nursing home. And I think it's sad that many adult children, basically not necessarily intentionally, but they desert their parents and leave them alone to, pardon the expression, rot in a nursing home. That has to be attended to. Would you agree with that?
I completely agree with that. I mean, this is another fallout of our modern concept of life, where we are so independent that we cannot take someone who has brought us to this earth. And
exactly.
And again, nothing against nursing homes; they do a very good job. But it's so painful, this new life of solitude, and this complete disconnect with life at such an age. When they're back to being a child, so instead of being cradled,
right?
They are again newborn children, and they are being left by themselves. So our entire focus is on the newborn, with nothing for those who are kind of waiting for the summons to eternal silence.
Yeah, exactly. Our time is almost out. I'll just mention that you are also an adherent of touch therapy. That is so important. And next time we'll talk about that. So, Dr. Sen, I can't thank you enough for being my guest on the Enrichment Hour. This interview will be archived, and I'll send you the link, Dr. Sen, when it is available. And thank you so much. The book is wonderful, Why Buddha Never Had Alzheimer's. I recommend it highly. Thank you so much, Dr. Sen, and I hope to see you again soon. This is Mike Schwager on the Enrichment Hour on WS Radio. Bye for now.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children.
After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
One person has the power to change the world, impact millions of lives, and leave a legacy for lifetimes to come. That person is you. In the New York Times bestseller, What is Your What?, Steve Olsher, award-winning author and founder of the Reinvention Workshop, reveals his proven process that has helped thousands of men and women discover, share, and monetize the one thing they were born to do. Grab your free copy now at www.whatisyourwhat.com/free. That's www.whatisyourwhat.com/free.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Hi, Scale listener. This is David Finkel, co-host with Jeff Hoffman of Scale Your Business. I wanted to let you know that our newest book, Scale, was just released, and to encourage you to get your copy. The book will give you 7 proven principles to grow your business and get your life back. Scale will help you work less by getting your business to produce more. Get your copy online or at your local bookseller. For more information, visit us online at scaleyourbusinesstoolkit.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.